You are listening to the Agegroup Multisport podcast, Next Gen. So welcome along to AMP Next Gen, and this all came about after Mrs. C had an idea and what a suggestion was to get some multi-sporters who were looking to qualify to represent their country and follow them for a season. We then put a call out on the social media and on our own podcast and asked for athletes who were interested in letting us follow them to qualify come forward, and we had a great response, and we've got 3 different athletes that have agreed to do this, and we're going to introduce them today. We'll have a chat to them, see where they've come from, and find out what their ambitions are and how they're going to get there. And with 2 of the guys, we've already got a bit of audio footage from last week and this week, so that'll be tagged on the end. So the 3 multisport athletes that have got in touch are Rosalind Davis-Jones, Aaron Dawson and Will Cunningham, and they're all looking at doing different disciplines. Ros is looking to do an aqua bike, Aaron is looking to do a sprint duathlon, and Will is looking to do a half distance. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Won't go into too much details because that's what the chat's all about, and that'll fill you in with backgrounds, etc, etc. Aaron had already qualified. We found out halfway through this process to represent this year in duathlon in Bilbao. We'd tried to qualify in earnest last year, but with the pandemic and everything upside down, wasn't sure whether he would actually get a roll down place, but he has done. But we decided that, well, we could actually follow his progress into his first age group race and also trying to qualify for next year. So we've kept that going. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy these introductions to the Next Gen athletes, and we'll see you on the other side. Hi.
Hiya.
Are you all right?
Well, thanks. You?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Whereabouts are you in the world?
I'm in Leicestershire, just outside Loughborough, in a little village called Barrow upon Soar.
Right.
Some big triathlete names in this village. I've seen Tim Don about and got quite excited.
So yeah, if you want to just tell us a little bit about your background. I got your email, so I've got some idea, but we can put this in the podcast so the listeners can hear what you're all about, really.
Yeah, sure. So I'm 25 and I did my first triathlon when I was 15. So I guess that makes me a triathlete for 10 years, which sounds a little bit crazy because I don't feel like I've done that many triathlons really. And yeah, I would come from a sporty, active family. My parents and my brother are very kind of into like cricket, tennis, gymnastics, kind of those kind of sports. I've always had awful hand-eye coordination, so I enjoyed running and swimming, and I joined a swimming club when I was I think it was about 8 or 9, Retford Swimming Club, and absolutely loved it. Trained at county level. I was in the county squad when Rebecca Adlington was kind of in her prime, which was amazing because she was part of Nova as well. And then the training volume really got too much when I was about 13. I was training 8 times a week, and then I was asked to step up to 10 times a week. Yeah. And I just decided that it was just too much. I wanted to carry on with running, with youth group, with music, with all sorts of other things. I also realised I'm 5'3", I'm quite petite. My shoulders are not broad, and I realised, I'm never going to be an Olympian. So I thought, well, I'll just train kind of twice a week with the club, and then started running a little bit from then. And then when I was 15, my grandpa saw a local triathlon, sprint triathlon, advertised in his local gym. It was a pool swim, and said, "Why don't you give it a go?" So I thought, yeah, why not? And I was, as the novice of all novices, I was on my mountain bike. I'd got like bright pink, luminous pink shorts that I put on over my swimming costume, t-shirt, and a cagoule, which kind of flapped about and stuff. But I had a blast. I absolutely loved it. And immediately, one of the things that I loved was that, you know, I was going really slowly on this little mountain bike, and all these guys that would come flying past on their super expensive bikes. But they were so encouraging. They were always like, "Yeah, go on, keep going. You're doing really well." And I just loved that. I loved how kind of, I think in comparison to the competitive swimming atmosphere that I'd often known, it was so encouraging, so welcoming. And yeah, I was hooked. So entered kind of several more triathlons, always sprint triathlons and always pool-based triathlons actually, over the next few years. But never joined a tri club. I just kind of did cycling and running on my own. And then when I was 19, I went to uni and joined the tri club there. So that's kind of when I started training kind of properly, per se, in all three disciplines.
Yeah. And how was that at university then?
It was brilliant. I loved it. I mean, there's some great, it was at Durham University, and there's some fantastic athletes there who in the couple of years above me were age groupers.
Is that how you found out about age group then?
Yeah, that's the first time that I'd really kind of considered it. Not considered it for me at that point. I definitely wasn't good enough. But I remember one of my friends saying, "Oh, it's not that hard to get into age group." And I was like, "That's all right for you to say." I was like, "Very much is. It feels like a huge challenge," and it still does. But yeah, it was just, I learned so much about training, about nutrition, about kind of how to manage everything, about recovery and all sorts of different things that I think particularly like managing training load. Swimming was so much about volume, and you kind of could do a lot of volume. Whereas, you know, something like running, you can't train to the same extent, you know, hours and hours and hours and hours each week, without kind of coming across injury, which I did. I got injured for the first time for several times. But yeah, and just kind of developed, progressed over uni. And then in final year, I was captain of the performance squad, which was great fun. And my final year was the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. So it was kind of half a year really, because obviously COVID cut it short. But those 6 months were awesome, and training kind of just absorbed everything. You know, I would structure my day around training rather than my degree, but I just loved it. Got such a great group of friends that obviously we're spending so much time together. So yeah, absolutely loved it. And then lockdown hit and all that stopped. And I haven't really started training back in the pool properly. I've kind of the last few weeks got back in the pool and done a bit by myself, but I guess I kind of lost that motivation after kind of training so intensely, so hard. I was in really good shape, considering in my swimming and my running particularly. I was really pleased with where I was, and then to kind of it stopped. Pools were closed, and then I got injured from running, so I effectively became a cyclist over lockdown. And my husband's a keen cyclist, so he's been dragging me out on the bikes for the last couple of years. And riding with someone faster, again, I've improved so much just from that. So I guess, kind of thanks to lockdown, I never considered myself even kind of capable of going for age group or anything like that, because my cycling was always my weakest. And then it's only kind of due to lockdown and due to doing a lot more cycling kind of by default that my cycling is now in a strong enough position that actually I'm considering age group level.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah. Every cloud's a line and all that.
Every cloud, absolutely. Yeah. That sounds really good. I mean, you're swimming, obviously, that'll speak for itself. Having a background in swimming, it's going to be a no-brainer, isn't it? It's probably the least you've got to work on, I guess, because once you get back in there, you've got the technical ability above everybody else that's there, or above the majority, I guess. And then obviously your biking's come on through COVID, and hopefully stay injury free, and your running will be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of recovering from plantar fasciitis at the moment. So my running at the moment, I'm taking my running a little bit easily, just gradually, but we're gradually getting there. Yeah, the swimming, the technique is there, which is great. That's one benefit of coming from a swimming background, and it's just hard work will get the speed back up.
That's it. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's just putting the time in, isn't it? And then it will come back. And so, yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, you sound pretty set up actually with all the knowledge you've gained from university, working with those guys and the hard work you've put in already. You've already got that base there, and the knowledge is there. So how do you see this progressing then? And what's the aim? What's the goal? What are you trying to qualify for?
Well, the event I've entered, there wasn't the option actually when I entered to click, with intent to qualify for Agegroup or whatever. So I still need to inquire about that. Northumberland Festival of Sport. It's the aqua bike that I've entered, mainly because of just being unsure of plantar fasciitis with my running. It's a tricky injury. So I thought, well, I'll do something. I'd never heard of an aqua bike before actually until I went on the website and then got really excited. I was like, great, that's something that I could aim for. That kind of takes out that worry of a running injury. So yeah, swim bike. Obviously, I've never done one before, but in my mind, it's just a triathlon with the run chopped off. Yeah, I'm hoping to enter some more triathlons just to kind of get a bit more, get back into racing. Really, I mean, I haven't, because of COVID and then an injury, and because of my degree, I spent a year living abroad. I haven't actually raced an actual triathlon for 3.5 years, I think. So yeah, I've done a couple of duathlons and then I've done some running races. But it'd be good to just do some races kind of beforehand. So I feel a bit like I'm swimming in the deep end. I don't really know what I'm, it's like just the idea of voicing the fact that I would like to qualify is quite scary. So I genuinely don't know whether it's going to be possible. I genuinely don't know whether I'm going to be able to do it, but I like the idea of the challenge. At the moment, really, it's something to aim for. It's a goal. It's a focus. I'm not part of a club, so that is something that I know would help. But just fitting it around work and life, and I found there's a couple of cycling groups locally that are great, but they meet, and I've got some good friendships there, and really enjoy training with them. But they meet at the same time as some of the tri clubs, so I don't really want to give that up in order to train that. So I'm not exactly sure about that, but at the moment I'm basically kind of just doing it myself. Haven't got a coach or anything like that. So we'll see. It might be possible. It might not be possible. But
so have you got a plan in mind? Are you following a plan at the moment?
No. Yeah. I mean, I know I need to kind of put a structured plan together. I've got some long distance cycles with some friends, 100, 200 milers and a coast to coast kind of set for the next few months as well. So I'm definitely going to be needing to spend a lot of time on the bike, and then within that, doing some efforts, doing some. The group of guys that I ride with are all, they're faster than me, they're stronger than me, so they just kind of pull me around and encourage me to really try hard. So I am still improving with my bike from that. And then I'm hoping that when I kind of get a little bit more comfortable in the water, I can use some of my old training sessions if I don't join a club and do a coach session. But yeah, as I said, like I literally only entered the race a week or two ago, so it's very new and I haven't kind of got my head around everything and kind of.
Well, that's good. It's nice for this because it's fresh, and it's in May. It's in May, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, end of 22nd of May.
22nd of May, yeah. So we've got a few months to get sorted.
The thing that I'm probably most nervous about is just trying to fit it in with life, with working.
So I think that's a great start.
That sounds great. I'm genuinely entering this as it would be really great to qualify. I genuinely have no idea whether I'm actually going to be able to qualify. I don't know, I haven't even looked at the standard or whatever. I know obviously aquabike is a very recent introduction. So, I don't know what times I need to be at from a bike or a swim point of view. So I just want to enjoy it. I like doing things a little bit different, something new, and challenges just for the sake of it. So yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to qualify, but I'm happy to give it a go.
Yeah, well, it'll be what it'll be, and I'm sure you'll do your best, and you'll, like you say, just have fun with the training and have fun doing it. So, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Everything else is a bonus, isn't it? So, lovely to meet you, and I look forward to the next instalment.
Brilliant. It's been lovely to talk to you. Thanks so much.
No worries, and hopefully we'll speak soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon. Thank you.
All right, take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
So this week started off really well. Great to feel like I have a focus and something to kind of aim towards. I registered with intent to qualify for the World Championship race in Spain for next year. So that's done, which is great. And I signed up to 1 month free trial of Athletica AI on your suggestion, which is I'm looking forward to. Watch some YouTube videos to see what it's all about. And it's a great thing to have the 1 month free trial just to see whether it'll work for me. I hadn't got all of the metrics I needed, so I did a CSS in the pool on Tuesday. And I need to get some VT2 stats for the bike metrics and all that kind of thing. But then we can get going. So hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll get at least 3.5 weeks. And yeah, see whether that's a great thing for me, whether it'll work. Obviously not having a coach, whether that'll just help give a bit of structure to my training. I've been trying to make sleep a priority. I love morning training, but often don't get to bed early enough to feel up and at it and refreshed and to have enough sleep. So I've been trying to go to bed early so that I can do the morning training before work. As you might be able to tell, I've got a little bit of a cold. Started yesterday, so I've just kind of stopped, didn't do anything yesterday, and I won't do anything today. Hopefully it'll shift in a day or two. But I've got a 100-mile ride with some friends this weekend. So kind of would be taking these few days easy anyway. Been doing lots of kind of food prep, making flapjacks and things like that. I've only ridden 100 miles once before, and I'm a little bit nervous, but it's a good challenge, and it'll be good to just get plenty of miles in the legs on the bike. I also did a strength session earlier this week, which is something that I don't particularly enjoy, so have not really made it a priority in my training, but I know it's really important, so I'll try and get that in twice a week, but I'll definitely do it at least once a week. I know that would be really positive. I've also looked at some races to do in between now and the qualifying race in May, whether that's an aqua bike or whether it's a triathlon, not sure, but I can also make my own aqua bike kind of race simulation at the open water place near us. So yeah, I've been looking at things to do there. So over the next couple of days, I'll enter at least one, if not more than one, race to see so that I can get some practice in, some race practice, because it's been quite a while.
Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Your story. You're age 35, and you were a rugby player.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you did growing up, was it?
Yeah, I was pretty much into everything, every sport going, football, cricket during the summer, rugby, even hockey. We were quite fortunate there was a place in Brig that did hockey for both male and female, so I went and tried that out. And I went to university in Northampton, and I kind of pushed the rugby thing. Rugby was like 90% of one of the reasons why I went there, because it was a bit close. I wanted to try and get as good as I could, to be honest with you. And then ended up just getting injured, so I came home. Yeah, well, I was there. I went to university there for 3 years, and then I got a job working for the sports development in their council. And it just felt wrong. When the recession hit, I was they were saying like you were the last one in, so you're the first one out, and they just couldn't keep me on. So I ended up coming back up north after 6 months of leaving university.
You got injured, and then you got into cycling, I believe. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was kind of around the time when Bradley Wiggins he just missed out on the Tour. I think it was 2011. And it was being publicised, and obviously the Olympics as well in 2012 when they were saying how good a cycling team we had, and then he won the Tour, and I just something just clicked. I thought, I'm gonna buy a bike and I'm just gonna give it a go. I tore loads of ligaments in my knee. That's why I gave rugby up, and I didn't really want anything which was going to cause it any harm. So like cycling is very low impact. And I thought if I could build the muscles up around my leg, my knees would get better. And I just bought a bike at the end of the day and just got on and started to really enjoy it. Joined the local cycling club. Ended up going all over Lake District, Mallorca. We tried to complete, I think it's the 100 best climbs in the UK in 2 years, and we knocked off loads, to be honest with you. We just went away and I just loved it. It was just, I bought my bike, and then obviously you get chatting, and I bought a better bike, and then I bought better kit and things like that. And yeah, that was the reason I got into like long distance endurance sport. And then my missus is a marathon runner. Honestly, she's mental. We're doing Manchester Marathon in a few weeks, and it'll be her 35th marathon.
That's impressive. So moving on from the cycling, how did the Ironman come about? Had you heard about triathlon before, or?
Yes, a couple of lads who I work with, a lad called Steve Clark, he runs a triathlon team called Off the Couch Fitness. Basically, I was just talking to him one day, and he was like, "Oh, why don't you try like brick sprint? Obviously, you do 1,600 meters in the pool and a quick blast out on the bike, and then a 5K run." So just tried it. I literally had no proper cycling shoes. I had like the cages on my bike and everything. I rocked up so unprepared, and I just went from there, to be honest. Did that, enjoyed it. And then a lot of our friends, they did Ironman Bolton. I'd say it'd be 2018. And I thought, I've never really thought about doing an Ironman. It's a hell of a long way. Number one, I've done 100 miles on my bike. I do that every day if I have to. But like, I've always been able to swim, but to swim 2.5 miles, I've never done it.
Yeah.
So I think one of my mates from Off the Couch Fitness was like, "Hey, I've just done Bolton. Come and do it with me next year." I was like, "Yeah, be all right. Don't worry about it. I'll win this one." And then little did I know, it was mad. But my coach said I'd have to get a couple of sprint triathlons in, get a couple of half distance, like 70s in. And I did Yorkshireman, I think just up near Ripon, about maybe 3 months before Ironman. And I finished that and I thought, God, I've got to double everything of that. And Bolton's 10,000 feet of climbing on the bike.
Yeah.
I'm in for a tough ride on that day, I think. But yeah, no, just rocked up to Bolton, and yeah, there was a big team of us, so it was quite good, really. They had a lot of support. I'd say there was nearly 20 of us that did it that day. I think for a bucket list, I'd definitely say do it. Like, it's the best thing. What a feeling! But for them 7 months leading up to it, I had in a total of about 7 days off out of 7 months, and we were quite fortunate because like our little boy, he went to school, so I used to drop him off, then go do 5 hours of riding or 3 hours of running, then pick him up. But you just got to be dedicated. It's crazy. It really is. So
yeah. Well done for doing that. So
cheers.
How did you? So you were part of this Off the Couch club then?
Yeah.
And you've got coached by them as well, have you?
Yes, yeah. Pretty much from day one. A lad called Steve Clark coaches us, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good support to have, and it sounds like they're a big concern. So it's good to have a lot of people around you for the support, especially when you're doing the longer distances. So tell me a little bit about how you found. Obviously, you'd have found out about qualification through those guys for Agegroup, did you?
Right. Yeah. Well, I stumbled across it, to be honest with you. It's quite. I'd say it's quite comical. I just entered. Which one was it? Croft Duathlon.
Yeah.
That would have been maybe last April. And when I filled it in, they asked me, obviously, on the registration form, if you want to go for qualification for GB. So I ticked the box, and I was like, "That's it. That's me done. I'm going to go." And I went and I trained, and I finished 5th in my age group. And my coach texted me as like, "Oh, great effort. You've got a good chance of being in a roll down place for GB. Did you pay your money?" And I was like, "Pay my money? What you want about paying my money? I just ticked the box." Anyway, it turned out I didn't pay me £10 registration fee, did I?
Yeah.
So I was a bit annoyed with myself, to be honest. And no one had really spoken to me about it. I got the people who we knock about with, they've all qualified for GB through triathlons, so like sprint triathlons, but no one ever mentioned that I had to pay any money.
Yeah.
So anyway, I emailed them and I was like, "I'm really sorry, but can I pay my money now?" And they basically, "I don't understand." And they were like, "No, you're not paying your money now because it's not for everyone else." So at that point, in my head, I thought, well, if I'm finishing 5th in my age group and now someone's spoken to me about it, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. So I went for it, and we just had a baby as well. So
congratulations.
My Mrs. Zoe was saying, "Right, if you're going to go for it, thank you very much." Zoe basically said to me, "If you're going to go for it, you go for it now whilst Maeve's really young." Yeah. So I smashed out all the TTs in the local area. I was PBing at Pat Run every week. And I come to all the qualification races, and yeah, they were tough because obviously I'd never really thought about doing it, and I started to get really friendly with a couple of lads, all rocking up to the same races, and we're all going for the same goals, but different age groups and stuff. And I ended up doing quite well. I mean, I would have loved to have qualified automatically, like either coming in the top 3, but I did Clumber Park and I finished maybe 4th or 5th. I did Alton Park in September. No, I didn't. That would have been October, Alton Park, and I finished 5th or 6th in my age group then. And I'm looking at it, and to finish 3rd, I'm like 2 or 3 minutes off, but in such a short space of time, then 2 or 3 minutes on a 5K race is me knocking, nearly 30 seconds a mile off. And when you're doing them, you're pushing your body anyway, aren't you? You do. So like, I did maybe an 18:30 5K, but the lad who won my age group did a 16:15, and I'm thinking, I've got to pull 3 minutes out of here, and I'm already at my limit. So, but it's just good, isn't it? It pushes you. And for me to try and get 3rd spot now is just my goal. I'm not fussed 1st or 2nd, but to get the 3rd spot and qualify automatic. Now I know how British Triathlon works and how I will register and pay my money and stuff. That's it. It's a real. I'd say it's a big goal, a huge goal, to be honest with you, to try and get there at this stage as well. I mean, I think my age group is one of the most competitive. I think for the world there was 40 people in my age group that entered for it.
Yeah.
So it's mad, and the next big age group I'd maybe say is you're looking at maybe 45 to 50. So there's another big gap where it's not as busy, but for my age group and then the next one above it's quite competitive, definitely.
And they were both duathlons, were they? Clumber and Alton, yeah.
Yeah, and I did Darley-Moor as well. I did a practice one at Darley-Moor just to get the course in my head, but actually it's just a triangle at Darley-Moor. So it's just you run around the outside of it, you bike on the inside of it, and then again. So when I got that, and then the qualification was maybe September time, I wanted to go under an hour. I did an hour and 1 minute in March last year, and I ended up doing 57:40. So in the space of 6-7 months, I'd knocked 4 minutes off, which I was over the moon about, to be honest.
Yeah. So were they all three of those were the qualification races then?
Yeah, the Columba Park, Alton Park, and Darley Moor. Yes, they were. Yeah, they were all qualification races.
So you've got a good chance then of have you looked at what other people's times are and worked out whether you'll realistically get a roll down?
Yeah, so I've had a look, and I'm in the, I think it's like 120% of the winner.
Yeah, Worlds you need to be 115, isn't it? And Europeans 120.
Yeah, and I got for the Worlds I was 113%.
Right.
And so then for the Europeans I was 110%, I think.
Right. Yeah, because obviously the closer you are, the better chance you've got. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy really, because it's such a long time since we did the qualifications, but I had an email from them, and they said that they had to wait till the end of January for letting people from the Isle of Man, Wales and Scotland do all their races as well, purely simply because they weren't allowed out of the country to race. So obviously their races weren't the ones that British Triathlon set out.
Yeah, it's not normal times, has it? The last couple of years, it's been a bit strange to say the least. So I suppose you've got to just take it as it comes, haven't you? And just it is what it is now. But hopefully from 2023 it all goes back to normal and there's no rollovers to the next years or anything.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw that the other day.
Yeah, it all sounds promising, doesn't it? From what you've done.
Fingers crossed.
One of these might stick. Who knows?
Yeah.
So that puts me in a bit of a tricky position then, because obviously I was asking for people to come on who were trying to qualify. And And obviously you've already done that.
I was just going to say the only reason. Well, I obviously sent you an email back just because I've not heard anything, and I kind of felt like nothing really was going to happen. So, like my aim now, what I'm training for now, is for 2023, not to go to Romania or to Bilbao in September. It's for whatever happens in a year's time, really.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. So, what are you looking to race this year then to qualify, and what races are you looking to qualify for?
So I'm down to do Mallory Park, which is in the 6th of March. Yes, I'm down to do Mallory. I'm not doing the Alton Park one because it's my little girl's first birthday.
Oh,
my missus would rip my head off if I missed that.
Quite right.
And then Columba Park, because it's around the corner from us, really. It's less than an hour away from where we are doing that. And then there's another one down, I think it's Reading, a little bit later on in the year. I forgot what that one's called. I'm looking at going to do that one as well. That's on the race circuit. I've never come across that one before.
Right, okay. But these are all duathlons, yeah? You're not doing any triathlons?
At the minute, I am doing a triathlon. I am doing the Portugal one. I'm doing the 70.3 in October.
Cool. So could you put your time in to qualify if it was a good time?
I will be, if hopefully, cool. I will try my best.
Well, why not?
We had two girls qualify from Staffordshire last year, and they've gone to the Worlds, I think, in Utah. Seeing the two girls they were going to New Zealand, but they moved it to Utah. To see them, just how ecstatic they were at making it just gives you a bit of a kick up the backside, because I feel like it's really tough for the men to qualify, I really do. I think
it's funny, isn't it?
harder.
Everybody thinks their own age group's really tough.
Yeah, it's mad.
And you know what?
But
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had one lad qualify for triathlon in our team for GB. That's it.
Yeah.
One lad and the coach who qualified. All the others we've had this year, I think there's 10 girls who have all qualified to go to Bilbao in triathlon and sprint triathlon. We've just had a girl come back. She was down to do Bermuda, but she ended up going to Spain. So all like you say, like they've all just rolled over. So yeah, we've got nearly 10 girls like qualifying or representing Great Britain in her age group, and then 2 girls going to Utah for the World Championships. So it's pretty good. Yeah, and the boys just brought the boys.
Well, it's a good mix to be in, isn't it? A good group to be in to get knowledge and find out information and things, and actually have some support when you're over there as well, which is really important.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Cool. So I think that's all we need, really.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Thank you for agreeing to do it. And great to meet you.
No
Somebody
worries.
Local.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, around the corner.
Thank you ever so much. Really nice to meet you. And good luck with your training.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right,
Fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah. Right, okay. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, mate.
Hi, Rich. Hope you're all right. I know it's a few days after I spoke to you, but I'm at work now to be able to send you a little bit for the podcast. Just having a little thinking. I know I got my GB qualification this week, but I'd like to talk about last year, really. Obviously, with it being the next generation, I'd rather talk about what I went through last year and how my training went to get that GB qualification, instead of basically saying, "Oh, I've got it now, and this is what it means to me." So basically, last year I entered Croft Duathlon. It was a sprint duathlon. Ticked the box on the website where it said register for GB. Never really done a closed circuit sprint triathlon before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, it's a closed race circuit. Croft, quite well known in the car driving, car racing, motorbike racing circuits as well. So turned up quite early in the morning, actually, about 9 o'clock start, I believe, because the standard was about between 11 and 12. And I'd say I'd like to have put a lot of effort into this race on the lead up. It was on the first races of the year, so concentrated on speed work for the first 3 miles, obviously TT work, and then the mile and a half run afterwards. So it comes to race day, feeling pretty good, to be honest with you. Kind of taking it all in my stride. Like I said, never really raced on a closed circuit before. The 3-mile run was on an old runway, so it was quite nice, really nice and flat. It was actually a really nice morning. I didn't really have any expectations of. I didn't really have any expectation of how it was going to go. I was just going to go and do my own thing and see how we got on from there. So during COVID times, really, so they were setting us off every 5 seconds separate, mixed. So you weren't setting off in waves of your age group. So I didn't really have a clue where the people in my age group were. So like I say, it was just to run my own race. So set off, did the 3 miles, and clocked my watch. Pretty quick 3 miles, to be honest with you, for me at that time of year. I was quite surprised. Quite happy.
Right, have we got an input? Yes, we have. we got an input? Yes, we have.
To iPhone. Connected to iPhone.
Which is 4 minutes long.
Yeah, just going on with the bike circuit at Croft. And like I say, if anyone's ever done Croft or looking to do Croft, the home straight is downhill. It's really quick into the first two corners. I think I clocked myself at one point in about 32 mile an hour going into that first corner. Like I say, there was loads of people there. So when it was bunching up around the corners, it was quite difficult, but I felt good. Like I said, the day was quite calm, not much wind. And the 6 or 7 laps, they flew by, and I felt really good. Onto the second run, 1.5 miles coming off the bike, and when I started, I felt really good. But got to about a K into it, and I think that's where I knew that I'd pushed a little bit too much on the bike because the legs started to feel like I was running into a treacle, even though I was looking at my watch and I was still doing sub 7 minutes for that mile. But I turned around to come back the second part of the mile and a half. And that's the second half of that mile and a half was quite tough. Across the line, I thought I did quite well, to be honest with you. I was glad it was over. I was absolutely shattered, to be honest. And yeah, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if you got told by British Triathlon if you were to qualify there. And then I knew the top 3 were automatic, but I was just very naive to how dedicated and how professional it was for an amateur qualifier for an age group. So yeah, I trundled off home and thought I did all right. And got a message a bit later on from my triathlon coach saying, looks like you've done really well. I'd be qualified for Great Britain. I said to him, I haven't got a clue. He said, did you pay your £10 registration for Great Britain? And unfortunately, I hadn't. So maybe if I'd have paid my £10 and with the full British Triathlon instructions, I might have actually qualified back then, instead of having to wait until October. But just having that little conversation with my triathlon coach gave me a bit of a boost. It was a case of, I've actually done all right here for my age group. Let's get cracked on. So that was it. For that year, dedicated every single training session. Every time I went to eat, making sure I didn't eat too much sugar. I stopped drinking for 8 months. Everything was all dedicated to just a sprint triathlon because I thought I was pretty good at it. There was a couple more coming up throughout the year, and I took part in them. And like I say, Alton Park I took part in as well. But keeping on top of the diet was really tough. But I had that goal, and I didn't defer from end to end at that goal. I didn't do any marathons, any half marathons. I did do an Ironman half Staffordshire purely and simply because it was a follow-on from the year before. And then, like I say, this time last week, I got the nod from British Triathlon to tell me that I qualified for Bilbao in September in the sprint distance. Absolutely over the moon. One hell of an achievement, and very, very proud to represent my country. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Hi, Rich. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. What about
Perfect.
you?
How are you doing? You okay?
I'm very well. How are you? And thank you for doing this, and welcome along to AM.
No worries at all. No, it's good. Let me just sort this camera out. Yeah. So, how are you doing? You okay?
I am very well, thank you, yeah.
Good.
You're working at the moment?
I am, yeah. No, it's fine.
What is it you do?
I'm a senior production manager for Greater Anglia.
Greater Anglia, what do they do?
Yeah. So down in, we run trains all over Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, Cambridgeshire. So we predominantly work on the North Fleet, which we're based out of Norwich. So I'm at Crown Point Depot in Norwich. So.
Yeah, is that where you live?
Yeah. No, I actually live in Stowmarket in Suffolk, and then I commute up on the train.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, thank you for reaching out, like I said, and agreeing to do this qualification race, which in your instance is the middle distance.
Yeah. So mine will be box end this year for the middle distance. So yeah.
Is that Worlds or Europeans?
I'm going for the European at the minute.
Right.
Because I'm only actually really in my first proper year of triathlon.
Right.
I've always been purely a cyclist previous, and made the switch last year because I was getting a bit bored. And yeah, it's gone much better than what I thought, and I'm well ahead of the curve where I thought I would be. So yeah, I thought September would be good. I've already had a middle distance hit out this year in Jan, which went well. I got second straight after Christmas. I did that in what? So that was 10k, 64, 10k, and I did that in sub 3.5 hours, and that was straight after Christmas. So I was happy with that. And that was just on my road bike as well. I didn't do it on my TT bike. So after that, I've got Ironman UK in July. That's the biggie. I'd actually say that's my A race, to be fair, because I really want to get the initial target was sub 11, but again, the way things are going, I don't think sub 10s out of the possibility, completely out the window. It just depends on how my swimming goes, to be fair. So all the way back, come from a fairly underprivileged family, single mum, did her best, bless her. But I didn't have many prospects when I was younger. So what I did is I joined the army at 15. Literally as soon as I could get in, I did. So I was 15 and 7 months, literally right on the min age, and joined as an apprentice, as they called it back then, or a junior soldier, because obviously until you're 18, you can't actually be classed as a fully serving soldier, so you don't deploy or anything, but you can go through training. So I spent a year at the foundation college up in Harrogate after, and obviously, and I grew up in just outside of Bolton in the northwest, a little village called Ramsbottom. That's where I actually come from. So went over to Harrogate to do I did a year there. So I came out of there as a fully qualified soldier with some MVQs in engineering. And then I then went on to do my trade training. So I joined as an avionics technician. So I was still training, doing running. I wasn't cycling then. I was swimming and running. And keeping fit for the army, became an avionics technician, and then spent the next sort of 4 to 5 years doing the training and then getting to my field unit and learning how to be an avionics technician and being a soldier. I then deployed to Afghanistan in 2011, went there for 8 months. When I got back from there, they sent me straight to Libya on a ship. You might remember when Gaddafi kicked off. That was 2012, 13, that was. So again, another 7 or 8 months deployed then. And then when I got back from there, I was sort of starting to get serious with my now wife. 10 years next year. Can't believe where that's gone. And
congratulations.
Then, yeah, 10 years. And then so I decided.
People can say that.
Yeah. So I decided that I was going to get out, and then I went and got a job on the railway. That's my first railway job. So just basically from fixing helicopters to fixing trains. Did the odd few jobs here and there, and then it just worked my way up through the various companies. So that's me as work. As far as training, so I started cycling probably about 10 years ago. I borrowed a mountain bike, as most people do, off my father-in-law at the time, actually, and rode it about 7 miles. And I absolutely loved it. And I literally was bitten from then. I was like, I need to get a proper bike, So went off to Evans Cycles and bought myself a Cannondale Cad 8 with Claris on it. I still remember it vividly. Bogo wheels, Claris 8-speed on it. I absolutely love that bike. Yeah, aluminium frame, Cannondale Cad 8, loved it. And I was actually living in Crawley at the time, and I remember riding it around there, loved it. Went and joined my first cycling club, that was Crawley Wheelers. Went on my first group ride. So I remember doing 40 miles, used to be like a massive day out for me, 40 miles, and that'd be me, proper once a week type rider. And then what happened then really? Yeah, so I moved back to Suffolk, and then one day I was thinking I need a bit of a challenge. So I think this was in 2016, and I was like, I'm going to do the Dragon Ride. Do you know the big sportive over on the Brecon Beacons? Yeah, 189 mile, over 5,000 meters of climbing, proper day out that was. So that's when I first started doing proper training, I'd call it. You know, your structured training. Trained for that, got round it in about 14 hours. It took me to get around that. I think I did it in about an average of 14 mile an hour. And again, I was like, I felt like it was a good outing, but I thought I can do better than that. So that's when I decided to start looking towards racing and got my first coach. So I got a coach. I actually still coached by that person. Is Jason Battle by his company's performancecoaching.me. He still coaches me today. So so from there, I was like, right. So this is in 2017. So through the summer, I carried on training. Did my first road race, like cycling road race in September 2017. Didn't finish, got dropped after about 2 laps. Knew there was a long way to go. But at the time, I was leaving a job, and I was fortunate enough. They put me on 3 months gardening leave for my notice. So 2017, the back end of that, I basically had 3 months off work and I could train full time. I had a coach and I literally trained full time. I dropped 15 kilos in body weight. I became as fit as a fiddle. And then all through the winter, had to start a new job in January 2018, but I carried the fitness through to that year. And that's when I literally first race, won it. Second race, got the points to become a Cat 3. It took me 2 races by the time I'd actually trained properly. So then I was a full-blooded Cat 3 racer. Did a really good year. I think I got to about 35 points, but I missed a couple of races. So I just missed out on my Cat 2 in my first year of racing. And it sort of carried on from there. And then in the back end of the summer 2018, I got a bad bout of depression and basically stopped riding completely. Don't know what happened. Just completely.
No rhyme or reason for that. Then.
Nope. Couldn't explain it. Proper. And that was it. Took me 14 months to get back on a bike.
Had you any history of that mental illness before that? Nothing.
Out of nowhere. Don't even to this day. I still manage it now. I haven't got rid of it completely. I have up and down days, but like that was it literally completely derailed me back in 2018, and I don't really know to this day. Then I did a little. So back in 2019 is when I first started doing multisport. Then because I was getting better, I was getting healthier, but then I was like, I don't really know what to do, and I didn't really want to go back to just cycling. So I started doing swim, biking, and running, only gently, introducing myself to brick workouts, that sort of thing.
You can't tie that type of training in with other people, you know, with family life as well. It's just not. It's not practical.
That's right. I mean, a lot of the time, other than a Sunday morning where I'll try and get out with the club to do my long endurance ride on a Sunday morning, like the majority of people do, to try and break up the 4 to 6 hour rides. A lot of the time, like my swims, we'll come onto it, but my swims are always super early because I get into Norwich and do them between 7 a.m. and 8:30 in the morning. I run on my lunch breaks to get my runs in. And then in the evenings, I'm doing my bikes, and generally, especially in the winter, on the trainer. 2019 started again. I had another dip, left the bike again for another 6 months, and I ballooned to 108 kilograms. I think I did at the back end of 2019. I'd done no phys at all, and then it was one of them where we was like, I'm gonna have a bit of a blowout this Christmas. Got back to race shape by the end of the summer 20. Started racing again the back end of 2020. I had another fairly good season as a Cat 3. Didn't quite make Cat 2 again. And then, but that was through the pandemic. And actually, it was the best time for me because I didn't have any distractions. I was just at work at home. So if it just paused the work and I go training, it was brilliant for me. It got in great shape. Then Christmas hit again, fairly chilled. Right. So then 2021, didn't really have a winter. I just sort of like ticked over. I didn't really do any build phase or any proper training. I just sort of like did a bit here, did a bit there. And then I come out of 2021, not in the best shape, and a bit of a poor spring. Decided I didn't want to race the bike anymore. And then that's when I turned my eye to multisport. And I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to give that another whirl because I needed something to break it up. And I'm not one to do things by half. So in August 2021, I've always known Ironman Bolton was there. And I was like,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm
An
committing
easy
this
one,
year. So I had a good base. I mean, I weren't in my best shape, but I weren't unfit either. I was just I was in okay shape, ready to hit this thing with a vengeance. So started running in September. Absolute shock to the system. Body didn't know what it was doing, because I've just spent the last 2 years training it to ride a bike properly. Do you know what I mean? So the biking's my strength. I absolutely smashed the bike. You know, and it was funny. Just a little side note. I was at the Essex Duathlon, and the guys were like, "Bloody hell, you on that bike?" I was like, "I'm a cyclist." You know what I mean? I was like, I can't run. You know, I can get round, but I was like, they were like, "You just cannot get with you on the bike." I was like, "That's my strength." You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you keep with me on a bike, you are in good nick. Yeah, and I mean that. So
Yeah.
I was like, right. So started running, building. Bit of a setback in 21 November, because I developed shin splints quite badly in my left leg, as most runners do at some point. But I got bad, so I had to take 2 weeks off over Christmas off the running. So I went into Essex Duathlon this year in Jan, in really bad run form, but I still did a 40-minute 10K, followed by a 44-minute after doing the bike. So I was
bad,
like, that's after 5 months.
That.
Yeah, I was like, that's after 5 months. I'd only been running 5 months properly, like actually running. So I was like, I'll take that, and you know what I mean, and building from there. So, so where we at now? We're in Feb now. So yeah, that's a month after my last race, and I'm just going for a massive build phase at the moment. Just massive build phase, yeah. So loads of volume. Nothing really too high intensity. Did a little bit yesterday. It was just a minute. I think minute in zone 5, 3 minute recovery, 3 minutes in zone threshold, minute recovery, and then 10 watts lower than threshold for 6 minutes, 3 times. That was the only intensity I'm doing at the minute. Other than that, it's just sweet spot or zone 2. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Next race for me this year is St. Neots Triathlon. That's point in the season. The distance, I'm doing more than that in training. Like, I've got a brick session Sunday, and I'm doing a 55 mile ride followed by 11 mile brick. So I'm already doing more in training than I am in a race anyway. So it's just more just getting back putting a race number on. You know what it's like. You know, there's nothing. Yeah. You can't replicate the effort of a race than you can training. You can't do it. So
yeah, that's a good way to look at it, actually. And in that race scenario, you can look at transitions and all the other little bits that go around you, can't you? So yeah, it's worthwhile doing it, absolutely.
So got to get the numbers pinned on, because the efforts are just different. It doesn't matter, like, you know, I don't believe in this A race, B race. For me, if I'm at a race, I'm giving it as hard as I can give it. I will race it as hard as I can. I don't believe in that, like, because, you know, it doesn't matter unless you've trained right for it. I won't bother. I'm very much to the point, if you're going to race, taper for it properly and actually give it your best shot, because, you know, give the respect to your other competitors as well, because it might be their A race. Do you know what I mean? And you know, they could be the better man on the day. And if they do beat you, go and shake their hand. You know, because they beat you on the day. Don't go. Oh, I've trained right through or anything like that. Go and shake their hand and say good job. Do you know what I mean?
So when's Bolton? What date?
Bolton's the 3rd of July, and that's full distance. So that's full Ironman. That is real.
Right. Well, I think I've got everything I need there. Thank you again for taking the time out of your day.
I like it. No, it's good.
Introducing yourself. Really appreciate it.
No worries, Rich. No, like I say, anytime,
mate. Looking forward to your journey, man.
No, it'd be good. Yeah, no, we'll catch up again soon, Rich. All right, take care.
Yeah, all right, mate. Thanks for the time.
Soon. Cheers, Rich.
See you later.
Cheers, bye.
Same as last week, so I'm going to run through it. And the reason I do it like this is to fit in around work and life. So Monday is an hour run at my lunch break. That's a tempo run. And then I did an hour and a half on the bike, which was a threshold session. That was an absolute beast this time. Probably, I think it was nearly 50 minutes out of an hour and a half was at threshold. That was a really tough session. Tuesday, swim in the morning. That'll be a pyramid set, so endurance type, strength building. And then I'm going to do a rest and yoga for recovery. I don't really tend to do massages or massage guns, just do a lot of stretching. Keep on top of the hip flexors and calves just to make sure they're all nice and loose. Right, Wednesday, swim in the morning and then another run at lunch, but that's a easier run, so that's more zone 2. Thursday, another threshold session on the bike, an hour and a quarter. So that's sort of long threshold intervals interluded by decreasing rest. Friday, final swim of the week. That will be a drill style session. So just really concentrating on my stroke, focusing on that. And then another tempo run, but this will be an hour and 10-minute tempo run. Now this weekend I've got a fairly big weekend, so I've got on Saturday I'm going to be doing a 2.5 hour brick followed by a 10.6 mile run. So this will be the first of the year of sort of an IM pace simulation. So that's going to be really good. And then Sunday, weather dependent, because it's going to be pretty poor, just looking at a 4-hour endurance ride. So to fuel all that on a normal basis, I normally wake up, have a bagel with some peanut butter on. That's just to get me going before my swims and everything. Post swim, I normally have overnight oats. That's 50 grams of oats with 100 grams of yogurt and a little bit of milk to loosen it, with a banana. Lunch, so a couple of lunch examples. Like today, I'm on chicken risotto for lunch with a broccoli protein pouch. The macros on that are fantastic. It's 142 calories and 25 grams of protein, so they're absolutely fantastic. And then in the afternoon I have sort of a fruit bowl, just strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, some like tinned peaches, tinned mixed fruit, and that goes with a sprinkling of homemade granola and a couple of tablespoons of yogurt. So throughout the day up until dinner time, I really try and keep on top of the protein and the carbs, especially if I've got another session in the evening. And then, again, another example, dinner for me tonight is going to be, I'm having chili con carne and pasta, but we're vegetarian in this house, so tend to do with corn mince, which again, nice low fat protein option. So one thing that I have really changed since I started doing the Ironman is that I eat lots more protein. I don't think I was eating enough before. Still eating anywhere between 300 to 500 grams of carbs in a day, depending on what training's going on. Even if it's probably overfueling for that day, over the week I'll generally find I'll need it, because I can always tell by the time I get to the weekend, particularly Friday night at the end of the working week, if I've dropped my carbs down too low, I really just feel awful, not ready for the week end of training. Sometimes it can be over 6 hours. So yeah, that's me for last week. I'll check in again at the end of this week and I'll tell you how I feel after the break this weekend. Cheers.
So I hope you enjoyed that. That's a little insight into our 3 athletes that we're going to be following on this AMP Next Gen podcast. And a little insight there from both Rosalind and Will, just some little audio diaries on a weekly basis. So it'll give everybody a good insight into what they actually do and how they're progressing. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you stick with us and tell all your friends about it, and give, like I said, give them lots of support and encouragement on social media, which I'll now let you know how you can follow them. So Rosalind on Instagram is Rosalind_DJ. Aaron is Aaron_Daws, DAWS. And Will is W1LL_Cunningham. And you can find them on there. And the other thing with Will, he's got, like he mentioned there, I think, or maybe he didn't. The other thing with Will, he has a blog page, and it's a really good blog page actually. Puts a lot of work into it, and one of my friends is doing Ironman Bolton, and Will had done a detailed race recce about Ironman Bolton because he'd already done it before, and again, like we said, he's going to do it again. So if you want to have a look at Will's blog page, it's www.9to5ironmantriathlon.co.uk, and yeah, you can find him on there. So thank you once again for your support and listening to this new podcast. If you want to get in touch, it's exactly the same as the standard AMP podcast. Email is agegroupmultisportpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at amp_1967. You can follow us on Facebook at ampgb. If you want to listen to the podcasts, we're on all the podcast platforms, but you can find them on our YouTube site, which is ampgb, and also on our website, which is the Agegroup Multisport Podcast.buzzsprout.com. And Twitter, we're on Agegroup Multisport Podcast. So get in touch, leave us some reviews, because they all help to getting us a bigger audience. You can subscribe to our channels, and that would be fantastic. And that's about it for this first episode of Agegroup Next Gen. Hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, stay safe, keep training, and love the process.